Remember, when you see me in the streets, holler at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smoot.
Put me in the game, Coach Smoot. Put me in the game, Coach Smoot.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smoot. 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 Put me in the game, Coach Smoot.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Let's go, everybody. Make sure y'all, come on, give it up. Yes. We got energy today. We got a special one, man. Y'all jump in the chat as you jump in. Y'all get cozy. Got some quality content set up for y'all today, man. Hopefully y'all ready for it, man. Welcome into the show. If you're tuning in live, thank you for tuning in live. If you're tuning in post-live, make sure, whichever way you're tuning in, don't forget to drop a like and a share on the stream here on the Coach Smoot Network. Man, we did an all-nighter. We literally have slept for only an hour and a half since yesterday. So I really want y'all to just take a moment and really admire the hustle. You get what I'm saying? That's what it's all about, admiring the hustle. You get what I'm saying? So to get into it today, though, to get into the conversations, y'all see the topics at the in the description. We kind of started off this spring ball special guest series last week. We had Mick Gillespie on, and we plan on continuing to up the ante with who we bring on the network, just to kind of reestablish who we have networked with and establish some really quality relationships with. And we're not trying to do and no shots. We're trying to really get in with guys who really grind and know the inside scoop and know the feels of the program, have embraced the transition, are part of the change in how things are projected in information delivery when it comes to Alabama athletics, not just football, but basketball, men and women's, baseball, softball, track, gymnastics, our Paralympic team. Like all of these things, we gotta find passionate media personalities that are dedicated to this and really have a passion for it. And today we are going to be graced by an analyst, team reporter, media personality of the Alabama Nation that you all are very familiar with, somebody that actually encouraged me to even take a step in this direction and try to pursue this career. So thank you all for tuning in. And don't forget, come in, drop a like. Hey, what's up, Glenn? How you feeling today? I see we got 16 people in the chat, man. We got 8 on YouTube, 8 on Twitter, 8, and 1 on Facebook. I see y'all tapping in on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, share it. I meant to stream it from the Coach Smoot page, but we were actually on the personal page. So if you're on the personal page, family, go ahead and share it. I don't mind. We'll fix it. We'll post it on the other blog. But continue to like and share. This is how we're going to continue to grow. Shout out to Mary J. She in the back and out front. Look, she working both sides. We're getting ready, man. We're about to up the ante with our morning show. I'm telling y'all right now. But Coach Smoot live check-in. This is a segment that we're going to continue to do throughout the existence of this. We're going to be checking in with a lot of people this year. Some names you all are very familiar with. Some you might not be. They'll be up to coming people that 3 years from now when they really hit the scene or they solidify themselves across the scene, they will be big names, and you'll be like, man, I remember when Coach Smoot was talking to that guy. And we actually have one on right now today. So without further ado, man, we're going to get into the topics of discussion today, being that of which players have a small window of opportunity this spring. We kind of dove into that conversation yesterday during our morning live, but the person, our special guest, was going to dive into that conversation. And then we'll talk about the trench warfare, the offense, the Alabama depth on both the offense and defensive lines, how much talent is in both of those rooms. And then also just the linebackers. There's a lot of linebacker talent there. Let's see what guys take advantage of opportunities with a lot of your veteran linebacker guys being down. And then we'll jump to the defensive backs probably the most talented defensive back group that we've seen available, right? Available at University of Alabama as a whole. I mean, across the board since 2017, 2016, if we're being honest. So we're going to get into that conversation. And then we jump to the offensive side. We talk about the talented running back room, offensive line room, and the tight end room. But who's going to emerge and become the catalyst and lead productive guys, and who can start showing that separation in the spring and solidify themselves as contributors. And then the last but not least, the question that everybody wants to know about, and this is a conversation I had to say for my brother Steven, you know what I'm saying? He's going to give it to us like I tell y'all, it's going to be honest. A lot of people don't want to believe in this thing. I find it funny we had such a hype around a certain freshman last year, but it seems like people find it so hard to believe that the same thing can happen this year. So we're going to dive into those conversations, y'all. You know, as I try to stretch this intro out, because I want y'all to catch it live. Because once we start rolling these clips out, I'm telling y'all, guys going to do something special with this show today. I feel something special. So as you come in, make sure you drop a like, drop a share. If you want to support the channel in a greater facet, you want to be a co-sponsor on today's stream, 5 gifted memberships, any Cash App, PayPal, Venmo donations, and all super chats will get you recognized as a sponsor on today's stream. All right. So coming to the stage. Well, before we do that, let me drop this real quick. Before we do that, are y'all ready to tap in for today's show, man? I'm ready for a vibe. If you're ready for a vibe, man, drop some fire emojis in the chat. If you're watching this post live, drop some emojis in the chat. But if you're really ready for a vibe today, let me know by dropping some emojis in the chat. And then we're going to dive into this thing here on the Coach Smoot Network. Let's dive into it, chat. Come on.
You're talking about Jalen Milroe and the Pips?
The perfect weak side linebacker, right? Put him next to the mic.
Not going to take up a lot of time, but I want to say that I'm excited about what.
Okay, forgive me, my brother. What's on your mind?
Oh, I'm good. I'm just still sorry for all the other content creators now that we have this mega star back in our presence.
All right, chat. Y'all know what time it is, man. Time to bring to the stage somebody that I have long respected and has been mentoring me and pushing me through this industry. But we've done some collabs, man. We've saw eye to eye on a lot of things, and we've even came together and literally live discussed some difference of opinion. And he's still my brother to this day, man. And I really appreciate him for being real, always having your boy back. You know, really put me on game when it came to this industry. And a huge part of the reason why I'm continuing to push in the way that I am. So without further ado, got to bring to the stage my brother, man, the myth, the legend. Touchdown. Nope. Let me stop. The Bama Standard. Making a presence on the Coach Smoot Network. Yes, the Bama Standard. Yeah, and I don't want to hear no mess because this is my brother. But y'all know, man, the Bama Standard, he been doing things past the Bama Standard. Y'all remember from TDA. Y'all remember before it was TDA, it was something else. He was doing his own thing, just reporting. Been around the game for a long time. My guy, the man, the myth, the legend, Stephen M. Smith. Welcome to the stage, brother.
Man, look, I just float around, man. All the legend stuff, I appreciate it, but your boy float around. But the main thing I've always said, I'm proud of you.
Man, listen, bro.
The work, the effort, the trials and tribulation, the tests.
Yeah.
You're conquering all of it, man. You are conquering all of it.
Look, man, it's by the grace of God, man. You know, me and you share. That's one thing we share strongly is that faith, man. That faith to continue to push. Just continue to embrace our you know, goddess and call, man. And when you're passionate about what you do, it's not hard to embrace it, no matter what the people say, you know, because at the end of the day, it's not about the people. It's just about pleasing God, and you doing something that he wants you to do. And as long as I'm making Daddy God happy, I could care less what everybody else think, man.
I mean, that's real. That
hey,
is 100% real. That's real.
Hey,
Don't get no realer than that.
It don't, man. But we here today, man. Grateful to have you on. It's always a pleasure. You know, you when it comes to Bama football, history when it comes to Bama athletics. You know, before the show, we were just talking about, you know, how there's a lack of support and exposure for the women's game, right? And that's weird to me because this women's team is great. And my channel knows, man, I've been harking on this for a long time about supporting the Alabama women's basketball team and just getting to know it because it's really about to take a surge as far as exposure. What's your thoughts on it, man?
Man, I've been telling people for a long time. I remember the day Christy Curry got hired. I think Christy got hired in 2012, 2013. This was my sophomore going into my junior year of college because I remember CM Newton was there. And Newton did all he could. I mean, give Newton, he did all he could. But the moment Christy got there, I knew something different was about to happen. And I kept telling him, give Christy some time. She had Nikki Hegstetter. She had Shavonta Meyer. She had, you know, just different girls that can do different stuff. And people were saying, Christy ain't getting it done. Let Christy go. I'm saying, y'all, keep sleeping on Christy. Once you pop a recruiting class out, it's going to open the whole bag. And then Hannah Cook came.
Right.
And that was the bag that popped it. When they brought Hannah Cook in, that's when you started seeing Bama women's basketball make it to the NIT.
Yeah.
And Hannah Cook opened that door for other girls to now come in. Now you've seen Bama the last 5 to 6 years under Christy Curry in the NCAA tournament. And I've been telling people for about the last 10 years, give Christy some time. She know what she's doing. She just needs to get her first right class in that door. And her first right class came when Hannah Cook came in there, and it's been an upward tick since then.
100%, man. And I enjoy it, man. Even just the personal interactions I've been able to have with Coach Curry, the staff. We've had multiple players. Well, we've had Eris Lester on the show, but just interaction wise, you know, these young women are very grateful for the support, the real support that they get. You know, my first live game in Coleman Coliseum was last year when I pulled into T-Town, you know, and I was working for the Bama football on YouTube. And the first game I got invited to, I got a ticket purchased for me. It was Alabama versus Florida women's game last season. And man, that was the one of the best experiences I had. But then after the game, you know, I didn't know that I was in a section, you know, for the family members. I didn't know that. So, you know, when they come over and shaking hands, you know, I'm being me. I'm being silly. I'm happy they won. They beat Florida last year. And then though that's where the connection started. And I'm Bama through and through, man. You see the backdrop, man. We finally chat. Y'all see the setup. This is 3 days in a row that we've had the same setup. So we're settled in. Thank God we're settled in. We're grateful for being settled in. But Steve, let's dive into it, man. We got enough people in here. I just was trying to give small talk to give people a chance to catch this live because, you know, anytime me and you get together, it's gonna be some fire. It's gonna be some fire. People always talk about it. They always talk about it. And what's crazy is, man, I've always had this idea that me and you were kind of the kings of the call-in show. You know, I kind of was for a minute last season. I was the morning guy. You was the evening guy. You know, on Mondays and Fridays. So it's not. I think we might be able to do something. We might be able to. Well, you've already established your footprint as the call-in Bama guy. I think I'm gonna be able to start moving up a little bit. We got some new features we're gonna be exposing to Bama Nation. That's gonna be fun this season. But man, dive into the conversation, man. It seems like just yesterday we were ending college football with the extended playoff, and we wake up and we're in spring ball now. You know, it's really rolled around. We've seen the off season. We've seen signing day. We've seen early enrollees. We've seen the transfer portal do what it was going to do. And now we're in spring ball. We've got a week under our belt. We've coming back from spring break, back on the field today. What's your thoughts, man? Just before we dive into the breakdowns and the different topics. So far, Kalen Deboer, you know, to this point, since he's taken the position, where does he rank, you know, as far as, or what is his rating on a scale of 1 to 10 in your eyes, and pros and cons of what's happened since he's been here?
I give him a 7 right now. I give him a 7 right now, and that's because of the fact that I think that hunger, he's starting to feel it.
Yes.
He's starting to feel it. I mean, people have to realize you know how hard it is to replace one of one? Like the greatest to ever do something, one of one. They don't make one of ones no more. Like they don't make them old school Chevy box Chevys no more. Like, you know how hard it is to replace something like that? So Nick Saban fits that category. Saban was one of one. And you bring in a Kalen Deboer, to which he has to seriously keep the people that were already there, right?
Right.
Keep the recruits that Saban brought in for 2024 there, and then bring in his own niche there as well. There was a lot Kalen Deboer had to do. We saw different pictures of Kalen Deboer last season. We saw the picture of him first coming off the plane with Courtney Morgan, looking like Big Suge Knight back there. When you saw that picture,
my dog.
Then we see the picture of DeBoer when he beats Kirby Smart in Georgia, and everybody's like, man, he is the guy. And then we see DeBoer through the trials and tribulations, the loss to Tennessee, the loss to Vanderbilt, you know, the barely beaten South Carolina, the beaten Missouri, the taking the doors off of LSU. Like, we see him through all of that. And then the loss to Michigan at the end, we see different pictures. But now we see DeBoer as, okay, it's my team now. Like, I came here, I went from the Pac-12 to grown man football. And grown man football has taught me as a coach, I got to do some grown man things in terms of my coaching staff, in terms of how I'm recruiting, in terms of really taking control of this football team and putting my stamp on it and really transitioning it from the Saban era to now. It's Deboer time. It's my time.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I put him right now at a 7 because I think those wheels have finally turned of this is my team. And he's put the building blocks in place to ensure that.
And Steven, just to kind of rebuttal, man, I think I rated him right above a 7. I gave him a solid 8, man. To look at the turnover, just looking at where like you said, the replacing the one, right? The turnover, you lost 88% of your production from last season. You know, I'm talking about total production, offense and defense. Guys that produced and put stats on paper. 88% of that left, and you come out, you're 9-3 to end the regular season. Literally, should have been in the playoffs if we don't have the automatic seeding and bidding. We're in the playoffs. People forget that we're ranked number 11 at the end of the season. We're the number 11th ranked team in a college football playoff ranking of a 12-team playoff. I think we, as Bama fans, forget that we were in the playoffs. The technicalities, you know, the automatic bid is what kept us out, and he did that. Had us in position to experience that emotional drama through all of this. And now we come back a number 4 ranked recruiting class after retaining a number 2 rank last year, right? A number 4 rank this year. That, to me, you know, I think anytime you got top 3, top 4, there's not much separation in those classes. We've seen LSU, we've seen Ohio State, we've seen schools that have had them top 3, top 4 ranked teams. They've always been in the mix over the past 5 or 6 years. They're always in the mix when they retain their roster. So, and you see them, how we go in the portal, we get guys. Let's dive into this roster, Steven. Kalen Deboer. So, to be fair, I think if we can say it's a solid 7.5 for if we average it out from Coach Smook and Steven as far as Kalen Deboer's first year. And up until this point, I think he's got the staff in place. Having Ryan Grubb, you know, you remember I remember telling people about this months ago before it even happened, that this would be a huge move, not just for Alabama, but as the football program, but just the staff in general. You know, that's the first thing that Ryan Grubb highlighted, the familiarity and just the sense of how things can work, you know, because of the familiarity. Doesn't mean that they're going to do everything exactly like they did at Washington. But the familiarity allows you to be a lot more flexible and resilient, so you could fit into multiple situations instead of being limited like we were last year as a whole. So diving into the conversation, Steven, we got a roster full of talent at the University of Alabama. As we watch everybody check in, make sure as you're pulling up, guys, make sure you hit that thumbs up on the screen, you share that stream. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel here on the Coach Smook Network, we are trying to reach a goal. We're trying to get to 3K subscribers before the end of this month. We're trying to hit 5K before our first year anniversary on May 1st. of 2025, we'll be celebrating 1 year established as Coach Smoot Network. So help us reach those goals by just simply liking, sharing, and subscribing to the channel is absolutely free. I greatly appreciate that. But Steven, we have a roster full of talent, and there are some players that have been on this roster maybe as, freshmen, red shirt freshmen. They got the red shirt year. Now they're basically a junior in the classroom and a sophomore on the field. We got some guys that are transferred in that maybe set last year and we're kind of waiting their turn. You got some guys that have just been kind of just not rotting on the roster, but we've been waiting for them to pop. If you had to give me a few names, and we can go 3 names, give me one name right now, a player that right now has to seize the moment during this spring ball transition all the way through fall and has to seize this season, this transition, this year as their year to really establish themselves and make their mark and be an impact on his roster.
On the question, bro, it's one name, Keon Keeley. That's the name. Boom. This kid, 6'5", over 280 pounds now. Remember, he came in big 5-star out of Florida.
Yeah.
You can look at his body type. You look at his calves and the upper torso. He's cut like a Will Anderson, Terrell Lewis android. That's Keon Keeley. And people forget, when Nick Saban brought him in, he was brought in to be a traditional 3-4 defensive alignment, stand-up jack linebacker. You're rushing off the edge, stand-up rushing off the edge, the same position Will Anderson played. Now you move Saban out. Here comes Kane Womack with his terminology and word jargon, which I like, by the way. Who doesn't love a good wolf and bandit conversation?
Wolf and bandit. That to me, that sounds a lot more lethal too.
It does. I mean, Sam and Jack, cool, but wolf and bandit.
Come on.
So now you look at what Kane Womack's bringing in here, and so Keon had to learn that, right? He had to learn whole new terminology, whole new word jargon. He put on weight. So now he's 6'5", as my guy Smooks brought us up, 6'5", 280. So now for Keon Keeley, who's gotten that coaching, not just from Freddie Roach, which, by the way, it's Freddie Roach's year now, but he's also gotten that coach from Jamie Mosley, somebody of whom I covered, have a lot of respect for now in the coaching profession. The reason I brought up Keon Keeley is the unselfish move of Jamarian Latham, moving from defensive end to wolf linebacker. That has opened Keon Keeley, because now Keon Keeley and Jordan Renard are going to push for this bandit opposite the likes of LT Overton. That's going to be very interesting. And if you remember, and Bama fans, I'm going to put y'all in history right now. Remember Timmy Williams out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana?
Yes.
2013 class. Timmy didn't start his freshman year 2013. Timmy didn't start his sophomore year 2014. Timmy didn't really become Timmy, the pass rushing demon, until 2015.
Yes.
That third year, when Saban let him off the leash on third down. Here is Keon Keeley. Didn't do much his first year, 2023. Got a little playing time last year. Now the door has opened for Keon Keeley, but he's got to seize it now. Just like Timmy seized it in 15, Keon's got to seize it now, because Keon can do those same similar passes.
100%. And to stay on the defensive line, you talk about Keon. I think you have the same type of feel around Jordan Renard. This young man, I have seen the individual workouts. I've seen the one-on-ones. I've seen we saw flashes last season, man. And he's right there in that rotation at that bandit position too. Same type of build. And you look at the size of these guys, man. I thought Renard was bigger than Keeley. You look at them side by side, you would think that Renard was bigger, but you see him coming in 6'4", 260. He doesn't carry himself as 260. He moves and creates a force like a 285, 290. So this defensive line rotation, I think those two guys right there are going to be key in the success of that bandit position, just because I know there will be a balance as far as their rotational, how they're utilized. You got two guys that share the same skill sets. You're not going to want to burn them out. We saw Kane Womack really rotate guys through the first 5-6 weeks of last season, no matter the consistency, he really put guys out there to develop, and it fared well for us at the end of the season when some injuries popped up. The defensive front really helped the linebacker replacements come along and adjust. And then once the linebacker replacements came along, you saw how the secondary adjusted. Bray Hubbard getting inserted, Xavier Brown, Jalen Mbakwe, all of those young guys having to come in and play some impactful snaps during the season. Was a lot of that success was due to the impact, maybe not on the stat sheet of the D-line, but the impact of the D-line and how effective they were as far as adjusting to the new scheme, because it really starts. This swarm defense, this 4-2-5 really starts up front, and how effective your defensive front, whether it's the true three or your wolf has got his hand in the dirt and you got a four-man look forefront and you're shooting gaps. You have to be able to win up front, have to be able to win one-on-ones, and then in the same sense, you got to be able to keep balance in there. Sometimes your interior guy is playing two gap and you got your everything around him shooting. So we gotta maintain that. Slide into the linebacker room, man. To continue on the topic of discussions, because we listen, chat. This is about to be like a straight hour of just firing off thoughts and topics on this roster. We're getting into the roster. I know a lot of people are excited because numbers have changed, and but I think we just need to get our eyes used to seeing a lot of changes. This roster looks different. When I see the number changes, and looking at some of the videos, Steven, it's weird seeing some of these numbers in some of these groups. You share the same thoughts?
I mean, Smoke, look at it like this. We're so used to seeing big dudes in the defensive line were 90, 95, numbers like that. We're not used to seeing defensive linemen were 12,
11.
11. But this is a new wave, a new era of college football where you got big guys that want to look good. Big guys want to look good. And sometimes they're going to choose the smaller number, and we're weirded out by that. But at the end of the day, if the kid plays like a beast in a smaller number, it doesn't matter. Let the kid rock the smaller number. If he plays like a beast, no matter what the number is, just give me the production.
Okay, and so another player we want to. I said we want to do three players. I'm gonna propose a player out of the position group, and you can kind of ricochet off of it. I want to go to the wide receiver room, man. And I talked about this the other day. Not because I think this young man lacks anything. I think it's just a time, and it's his time to really step up and solidify himself as a intricate piece of what Alabama's future is going to look like for the next 2 years, this season and next season. And that's none other than my guy Jalen Hill, man. As this roster continues to open up, we know last year, going into last season, the first season under Kalen Deboer. In that spring, man, Jalen Hill was actually repping with the ones. He and Jeremy Bernard were really splitting reps at the Z and the X position. They were both, rotating. He was making himself establish himself as one of the veteran leader guys, vocal guys in that room. I think Jalen Hill, this is his make or break year, because a talent like his, I don't think we can hold him in the type of recruiting that we're doing in this room. If he's not producing this season, fully healthy and everything, and if he's not held back by injury, he has to take advantage of the opportunity, even though he's limited right now. We know he's not full go right now. He's I think last I heard or last I seen, he was in one-on-ones, light contact one-on-ones, black jersey. But I think the plan is for him not to fully participate in any of the scrimmages. And I don't think that hurts for a guy like him that actually had, some experience, was able to gain some quality experience last year in spring, and having to watch through the season, learn, still be an active part of the team, maintaining his rehab and everything. I think Jalen Hill has an opportunity to really jump through the window and establish himself this season. Who's the guy on that offensive side you see has to really seize the opportunity this season?
Oh man, a guy for me offensively that can really seize this. I'm going to go with the transfer, Isaiah Horton. I'm going to go with the transfer from Miami. After what he was able to do with Cam Ward, and that size at 6'2", 6'3", he's got a chance to come in here and be a really consistent playmaker.
Well, Steven, officially 6'4", 210. Officially 6'4", 210.
So that's Julio Jones height. So now you can come in here and really be something. Like, You know what you got in Jeremy Bernard. Consistent. We saw at the back half of last year. We know what we have in Ryan Williams as when he was 17 years old, how he exploded onto the scene. He's 18 now.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're getting Isaiah Horton, who's got time on task. And time on task coming from a big-time quarterback in Cam Ward, who's now cashed his ticket for the NFL draft.
Right.
Now you bring him in here at 6'4". That type of body, length, balance, control, and route tree, that's going to be interesting. Because
100%.
Isaiah Horton could come in here and lock in a spot. That's going to be crazy.
It's no secret, Steven. I've seen it already. Thank God for, shout out to the staff of Alabama. We've kind of got our direction on what we're doing for Alabama this year. And being in this position now, I've kind of moved past. Team reporter was fun, Steven, but I like being on this side. Being able to, just have the networking connections because it's certain things that you see as a coach, and people, they joke about me coaching in my coaching career and stuff. But I remember, going to coaching clinics and, listening to Torrey Holt, talk to us about some of the things that, he looked for in receivers, and then having Chad Ochocinco come through that same, clinic and shaking hands with Ochocinco and, telling him how big of a fan I was, and just listening to some of the things that he looks for when he's helping and giving tips to receivers, and applying these things over years and seeing consistency and seeing how the game has evolved. Isaiah Horton is what you want to see in your new age big body receiver. We don't want a Calvin Johnson for this type of scheme. We want guys that, even though they're big bodies, they're shifty and drive hard out of breaks, because there's going to be a lot of comeback, hitch, curl, 50-50 back shoulder balls that's going to be needed in this system. That's the vertical passing scheme that Kalen Deboer and Ryan Grubb like to call. There's a lot of adjustment in the air, and that's why your quarterback has to be able to layer the pass as well. And Isaiah Horton has showcased that he can adjust and be very active. But I got another guy in that room, man, that I think it's not make it or break it, but I think he's really going to make it this year. And that's none other than my guy, Rico Scott, man. I've been hearing so much about Rico Scott and Latsier Brooks, but Rico Scott last year was an ankle twist away from really being that number 3 guy in that wide receiver room.
Smoke, I'm gonna say this right now. Bama Nation, the last Pennsylvania guy y'all got. Remember who he was. 2013 was a 5-star from Monica, Pennsylvania, was Robert Foster.
Talk about it.
If injuries never happened to Robert Foster, how good that brother would have been. We're talking about 4.2 740 speed, turbo. I watched Robert Foster in person. If injuries never happened to that kid, how good that kid could really be in. You get what you lost by having Rico Scott in here. The second Pennsylvania kid. This kid can flat ball. Route concepts, speed, hands, the separation. Robert Foster could separate quick. Rico Scott can separate quick. Really like this kid.
And people, when we talk about separation, we're not talking about just vertical. We're talking about literally chopping down, driving, sticking and driving out of breaks, 90, 45s. I've seen it. I've seen the 180, getting straight back down in line, his balance, his power out of his breaks. Something that I admired from Ryan Williams, who Ryan just does it so effortlessly. It looks as if he's not trying with a lot of his movement, and it looks unorthodox because to some it looks loose. But if you look at Ryan Williams' core when he's running routes or making moves and breaks, his core is always tight. His arms is loose, his shoulders, like something that you see in a dancer. But Rico Scott is showcasing a lot of those tendencies. And I mean, the wide receiver room as a whole, to me, is one of the most talented. We're just waiting to see. We have to see some production before I give them the hype, that they deserve, because this is a talented group. You're talking about Latsier Brooks, Bubba Hampton, Cole Adams, burners. Those 3 are burners. You're talking about 3 guys right there that run, 10-6 or better in your 100-meter dash. Like this is a speed group, and Isaiah Horton, a 4.48 guy. I'm watching this guy run on air, and his 10-yard splits, just 85%. The stride is there, man. It's so much talent there. So two names that I can't wait to see continue to grow. What you was about to say something else, brother?
And bro, what's crazy is before we even wrap up this wide receiver conversation, what's crazy is you look at now and names that we haven't even talked about yet. You got Jalen Mbakwe playing receiver. So you've got Bach and Ryan, the two friends, on the same side of the ball now. That's unreal. When you look at Coach Shep, he's like, okay, I'm finna really pop this thing off. Like Coach Shep back earlier in the offseason was talking about, we didn't have the dogs that we needed to have. Well, now you got them. You got them. Like you flat got them. So if you look at Coach Shep, he is literally chomping at the bit to really pop some stuff off this year with this group.
Right. And Ty Football, definitely the guy. He's been working. Hey, you think so? We're going to talk about the quarterback position in a little bit, so stick around, Funky Flav. But if you're just popping in, man, and you have not done so, please like and share this stream. Let everybody know that the GOAT, Stephen M. Smith, has graced Coach Smoot Network with his presence. And y'all know how Coach Smoot move, man. We be popping. Let's get the likes up on the stream, y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. Continue to dive into the conversation, man. We've kind of talked about some guys that need to seize the window. Those were just a few names. There's a lot of names we can say to add to that list. I'm thinking names like maybe Jeremiah Beeman, having an opportunity to step up this year. Jeremiah Alexander, can we get some action from him? Caden Jones being healthy. We saw how he was climbing up that roster last year. So give me some names, bro.
Now, I gotta tell you, Smoot. Jeremiah Alexander transferred out.
Bro. Oh yeah, I'm thinking of your other buddy that was next to him in the picture. QB Reese, AJ Abdul Sanders. I was seeing Abdul. I keep seeing him in 35 and saying Alexander.
Yeah. Alexander transferred out, but man, dude, Beeman. I remember I saw Beeman with Coach Ayo out of Parker High School. The dude was 260. I did not think Beeman would fill out his body. The kid's 315. Behind Tim Keenan, he's the biggest defensive lineman. That's Beeman. Beeman can play a nose. Beeman can be your other defensive tackle in that 4-2-5. That kid's a worker. That kid's a leader. That kid's a hall. So that's a man now. Beeman's a grown man.
And Steven, I don't think people remember, like, you want to talk about a true 3 DL front. You can put Beeman at your bandit. You can, or you can put Keeley at your bandit, Keenan at your tackle, or whoever else big body. I think Stephen Duma is going to be another motor that can really seize rotational reps, man, and impact. Like the depth in the trenches, man. That's a topic of discussion. The depth in the trenches.
The depth is crazy.
Let's go to it. Let's talk about the trench warfare, the Alabama's depth on both the offense and defensive line. Take whichever side you want to talk, Steve, and then I'll expound on the other side, man.
Okay. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to take the offensive line. So when I look at this group, I got to give Coach Kaplivic a lot of credit. He's been out here recruiting. You look at this class he's brought in with Mal Waldrop, who's probably the most underrated of the group.
Underrated, yes.
Wearing Tyler Booker's old number 52. You got Michael Carroll. You got Michael DeBose. Those two are grown men. And then you got Jackson Lloyd, who's probably the most prototypical offensive tackle in that group right there. So you got that group right there. Then you look at the guys that you brought back. Parker Brailsford, you're straight at center. He's the guy. And then right with him, you got Caden Proctor, who's dropped to 360. But what does that look like? Is that 360 with better footwork? Or is that 360 still a bit slow, may push him into guard? We're going to get a chance to see that. You bring back Jaden Roberts. All you're asking from him, big man, stay healthy. That's all you're asking from Jaden. Big man, stay healthy. Then you got Gino Vandermark, who's got some time on task. His second year transferring from Michigan State. But the guy I'm excited about, but I think it's his time, my brother from Finland, Ongas Enganin. Ongas has really started to get after it now in his third season. I'm excited about Ongas Enganin. I'm excited also about Rock Montgomery.
I was just about to say, you better not leave my nephew off of that. That boy.
I'm telling you, Rock can play center. Rock can also play guard. and Coach Cap really likes that young man's versatility. You have a deep offensive line. Then you bring in the transfer from Ball State, Arkel and Guam at 6'6", 330. Big, extremely long arms. That kid's got a wingspan. He looks like an NFL offensive tackle
a
right now.
6'9" wingspan, Steven.
That guy looks like
with a 6'9" wingspan.
That guy looks like an NFL offensive tackle right now. So the thing is, Coach Cap's got a deep room. It's just fitting the right 5 pieces. Better yet, not fitting the right 4, because you already got your center in Brailsford. Fitting the right 4 pieces around him. That's the thing. You got the depth. The depth is there. It's fitting the right 4 pieces. And now with Coach Cap and Grubb, these two getting together, okay, how do we want to really balance this thing? We know Grubb is aggressive. He's going to take shots. But now, how are you going to balance this with your run game, especially with you doing a man blocking scheme? Do you want to be more so of a zone stretch, kick out pull scheme?
Yeah.
What do you want to do with all of that?
Yeah, and we all know that, like you were saying, that offensive line group is athletic. And just to kind of reiterate, man, you're talking about a group that you're trying to figure out if Geno Vandermark is really turned the curve and begin to produce like we saw him do the last 3 games of the season last year, right? Can he go in and be that steady replacement for Tyler Booker last year, or do we see a Rock Montgomery who's playing guard and center slide into that role? But you also have Olis Alanin, who's showing his versatility at playing tackle and guard right now. So you got a lot of guys, and Michael Carroll, the young guy, coming in, and you don't know where to play him because he's so good at each spot. Jackson Lloyd, like you said, you're prototypical. He is a tackle, the tackle that you want to build. He's the second coming of Jonah Williams to me, if you really think about it.
Period. And then not to mention, you're grooming this man right here, Casey Poe.
Him. And he's patient. Casey Poe, he's in no hurry. He's public about not being in a hurry to really just get thrown into the fire. He wants to be the best version of himself before he puts in any work to represent the universe. It's a lot of guys in that room. That offensive line room is a lot closer. And we spoke on Rock Montgomery. I got to see Rock Montgomery at the Alabama-Auburn game, women's basketball game, right? And I almost didn't recognize him because in street clothes, Rock looks like a defensive end. Your new hybrid defensive end. He's 6'3". I mean, for a big 330-pound guy, you don't have a gut. I mean, where the offensive line does not look like an offensive line anymore. Jaden Roberts, Rock Montgomery. I mean, even big Caden Proctor doesn't look like big Caden Proctor no more. He looking like one of those wrestlers you bring out to intimidate the other team in the triple tag team match. So they're shaping up. Coach Cap is getting the look and the anatomical makeup of the group that he wants, and I think it's going to be a very competitive spring, man.
And you got to give a lot of credit to not just David Ballou, who's done a phenomenal job in the strength aspect of it all. You got to give a lot of credit to our nutrition staff.
Yes.
Our nutrition staff has really sculpted out the diets for these young men. I mean,
yes.
I've walked in there, Smook, so many times. I've seen the menus. I know people joke about Steve like to eat. I've seen the menus, y'all. I've seen the shrimp day, the salad day, the steak day. Oh, you getting 3 protein shakes here, this, that. Like, I've really scoped out the menus.
The fact that I wish I had got to, if I could have did anything as a collegiate athlete, I wish I could have experienced the nutrition program at the level that Alabama does theirs, because, I play NAIA. So our thing was go to the dining facility while it's open because you're paying for it anyways, right? So we used to stack up on our French fries, mashed potatoes, get your pastas and your cheeseburgers, all that stuff. I mean, stock up on it. We had, but nothing to the level of what you get at Alabama. I mean, like, good cuts of steaks. Why y'all think Ryan Williams and Jalen Mbakwe came on campus last year and put on like 18 pounds of muscle, put on 18 pounds in 6 weeks. And I mean, Steven, you remember you were standing next to me the first viewing period last year, and we were trying to figure out who number 9 was.
Dude, like not only Bach, dude, but now you look at this. Key Russ came in at 170. He's not
That's what I'm
192.
saying. This is 192, man, and looks like a second year. Everybody talks about Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels graduated as a 6-year player at 185. And he survived 2 seasons in the SEC. So all of that, you got to put some. Nah, I think we're in good position. Let's not get stuck, Steven. You know how we do, man. We can go all day without, we some church boys. We get to talking and get the long-winded like the preachers do.
Man,
But
don't bring Bishop Jake in here, man.
don't bring. But diving on the other side, man, we talked about the depth of talent at the offensive line, and we kind of talked about it on the defensive line side. Just to name a few more names, man. We know we got Tim Keenan coming back, a hot name that's been making waves right now just since last season, and really is going to step into basically a full-time starter role, is that of James Smith. I love James Smith. The fact that he can't participate this spring and he's got to get healthy, I think that's a huge, huge opportunity to really develop that depth, because we know what we're getting from young James Smith.
We're getting the bully from Carver High School, the kid that I watched a lot, him and Roos a lot.
Yes.
We're getting a man that really just wants to run up on you and slap and knock you out in the face. I mean, we saw James, the bowl game against Michigan. That was the coming out party of him hitting the quarterback, doing some somersaults, really announcing himself to the college football world as he is the next guy. And along with James, I mean, my God, Edric Hill is about to take some opportunity as well. I've said this is Freddie Roach's year.
Yeah.
All of these kids are Freddie's kids. He either was the primary recruiter or he was the closing thing to sign that door on him. These are all Freddie's. Freddie got every last one of these young men. So we have seen Freddie the recruiter for a long time. We're about to see Freddie the producer now. And
Freddie the developer. I think he's always been able to produce, but I want to see him really develop guys, man. We got Steve and Boomer. Like, I feel like that's going to be his prize right there. Like him and Henry.
And I feel like the reason why we're about to see this is, think about it like this. When Nick Saban was the head coach, he was the de facto all-around defensive mind, right? Now that you have Kane Womack as the DC is literally saying, Freddie, you know this way more than I do. You put your own personality on this line. Yeah. We're about to see Freddie's personality come out. It's been kind of held back because when you're working under Saban wants to run the entire thing. So your personality doesn't really truly come out. Now, in this defense, you're about to see Freddie's personality really come out.
And not just Freddie. You know, I know we're talking about defensive line, but one of the topics of discussion is the quality of staff. The fact that Kane Womack and Kalen Deboer and now Ryan Grubb, you know, your coordinators and your head coach, guys that really have to be focused on one, head coach being game management, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, literally play calling needs to be their primary focus. You give them that space. You open your OC and your DC up by putting them solely in those roles, not worrying about development. Bring Matt Sherrill over. I love the type of production Sherrill was able to get at Washington from that linebacker core. Nobody in that. Name a linebacker from that Washington Huskies group that played in the national championship 2 years ago.
I know Tafalo was in that group.
I mean, that's the only one, and that was literally because he had an interesting name. But you look at the production from the linebacker core that he was, you know, in charge of. Him and Ingles, Coach Ingles was the outside linebacker coach. You look at the production from those guys. Washington's defense was crazy active, and they were not very athletic. They had a few guys in the secondary. They had the linebacker you just mentioned, Tafila, and then the defensive front was a production by committee. So you look at the depth of talent on the D line. Like I said, I think Steve Bowler and Boomer is going to be Freddie Roach's prize. Like, that's the one where everybody's going to be like, okay, he developed that guy. Because we've seen his raw talent. He's only been playing football now going on 4 years. 4 years now. Look, so and then I like what I've been hearing from Asai Fager, who's came in and he's about to be that mound in the middle that we haven't had in a long time. We haven't had a Cody. Tim Keenan has been a little bit like that, but he's just so athletic. You can't really place him in that stopper stuffer role. He gets too slick and loose and gets after quarterbacks. Aside Fake, I think he becomes that wrecking ball, that bowling ball in the middle of the defense. And look at the size. We talked about this. 6'2", 6'3". You don't see the 6'5", 6'7", 6'8" guys in the middle of our defense being recruited for the middle of our defense no more. Kane Womack has a mold that he wants, and Aside Fager fits that mold. We talked about Jeremiah Beeman. Edric Hill has been popping on all of everybody's, he's been the talk of town as far as the D-line. And, of course, Tim Keenan comeback is huge. So that handles the D-line there. Steven, let's go to the linebacker room. I know that's a group that I'm excited about. We got a lot of injuries. Deontay Lawson not participating 100%. Justin Jefferson, black jersey. A few more guys not being able to participate fully. What does this linebacker room look for you? And I'm not just talking about inside. I'm talking about the whole core, the edge rushers, your Mike and your Will, your weak side guy. What does this group look like to you? And who are those impact guys that you see just really just creating that mold of Alabama linebacker mentality that we're used to having?
Well, as we get everybody healthy, first of all, we want to have Deontay Lawson healthy. We know what D-Law can bring. You want to have Justin Jefferson healthy because when healthy, JJ can go out there and light you up.
Yeah.
So you want to see both of those two guys healthy. But when you look at Nakai Hill-Green, getting him from Colorado as a transfer, that was big. The kid had, 82 tackles last year?
82 solo tackles.
That was big. Having him in here, and he's getting quality reps, really quality reps with D-Law out and Justin Jefferson limited. So you got Nakai Hill-Green. Then you got these young cats. Man, you got Justin Hill in here, Duke Johnson, Luke Metz. Luke Metz is going to be something to deal with. Him and Duke Johnson, those two are going to be something to deal with defensively. That's just young talents. Young, athletic, hungry, football IQ, Abdul Sanders as well. And they want to get, and then QB Reese. That's another one.
Can I interject, please?
Yeah.
I told people when we got QB Reese, he came in as a 3-star. People love to do this star rating thing when it comes to Bama players, right? QB Reese was the closest thing to Rolando McClain, movement, IQ, reaction, intensity, and feeling. And he just looks like a McClain in pads. He's not as big as Rolando, but he looks like him. Him and AJ Sanders, as we look at these guys together, 35, 36, I think this might be something as far as the inside linebacker tandem that we might be able to see, kind of like we saw from Lawson and Campbell over the past few years. I think this is our next group of those guys. Even though you have talented Duke Johnson, Luke Metz, all those guys around them, I think these two start to emerge as you see hybrid guys like Luke Metz, who can give you a linebacker position, but he can stretch out to strong safety and play in the box as a rover or a husky, right? You don't have to limit him to just linebacker. You put him in a hybrid role. Same with Duke Johnson, a pass rushing specialist, but super athletic. So these guys aren't set in stone. Justin Hill, we know he's going to be a pass rusher, can do everything, but we know where his skill set is. And it leaves the opportunity for guys like QB Reese and Abdul Sanders Jr. to really just continue to excel as inside linebackers and high IQ guys, very athletic. I like the fact that you followed those two up together because I see the future for them too. If they stick around and continue to develop, I see them being like the next big linebacker duo for Alabama.
Oh, absolutely. And then when you look at this at outside linebacker, what's interesting is we have seen at Alabama, the outside linebacker has kind of been, you have a veteran guy and then a young guy both growing together.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, you had Ryan Anderson, Tim Williams.
Yeah.
They both grew together. Anthony Jennings, Terrell Lewis. They both grew together. Will Anderson, Dallas Turner. They both grew together. I look at this with Rousseau and Yancey Pierre. That right there. I think that right there. But I think you look at Jamarian Latham's going to get some minutes in. He's going to get some work in. But I think the two that are going to be nasty growing together, Rousseau, Pierre, it is their time. together to grow and really create some havoc. Both of these two in state. Both of these two know what it means. Both of these two came in the same class. Both of these two get the mentality. I think Rousseau and Pierre on the outside, they grow together.
And for a lot of these guys that we haven't mentioned in the forefront, that doesn't mean, I think this is the year we really see the rotational depth that Kane Womack. I mean, Steven, you were there last season in the spring, how much Coach Womack harkened on creating quality rotational depth, man. Being able to rotate as many guys as possible. He said if he could play 31 guys in a game, 10 plus snaps, he would do it for his defense because he wants that type of energy, that type of speed and mentality. So you got guys like that are going to need time to continue to develop, like Luke Metz, Kalen Jones. I mean, good guys showing flashes, but they don't necessarily have that experience or haven't been forced into those roles to create experience for them. You're going to have opportunities for them to play 6 or 8 snaps in a game because of the type of rotational depth you got. Noah Carter, another youngin that's on the edge that I mean, you see his development. He's come on campus. I think Noah came on campus at 225 as a freshman last year. And that's my youngin, so I sit there and I look at his development, just his frame. He looks full. He's filled out his frame. And to me, I don't know, man. Maybe I need to be in charge of measuring these guys because I know I'm 6'3". He is at least 6'5", man. Noah is growing. He's still developing, and you see it translating to the field in his footwork, his hands, everything that I've seen from Noah Carter in this offseason and his development is high. You got guys just sitting there waiting and lying in wait. If we can keep these guys, at least 6 of these, 7, 8 of these linebackers together, this could be a crazy linebacker core for the next 3 years.
And I've been telling people, Smoking, you and I had this conversation the other day. Kane Womack is the closest thing to second-year Kirby Smart / Jeremy Pruitt we've seen in a long time.
100%.
Kane Womack will rotate. He will develop. He will coach. And here's the big thing. You go back and you look from the South Carolina game last year, Tennessee-South Carolina game last year to the end of the season, and I went back and I looked through a lot of these numbers. Kane Womack's defense from the Tennessee game last year to the end of the season did so much that mirrored exactly like that Jeremy Pruitt 2016 defense. It did. The only difference between the Kane Womack defense and the Pruitt defense from 16 to 17 were the sack numbers. That was the only difference. And if LT Overton finishes in the backfield,
we killed that.
That probably would have been right there as well. So if you look at it, Kane is right there. Kane is the closest thing to some generals we've seen in quite some time.
Not just with the missed sacks, man. You talk about the amount of turnovers with the type of struggles that we saw as far as these guys adjusting. He still was putting guys in position with the play calls to make the play. We led. Were we second or third in the SEC as far as creating turnovers, interceptions, fumbles? I think we were second or third in the SEC. Okay. And so you look at and we had the youngest secondary, the youngest starts. I mean, the least amount of starts in the SEC as far as a collective group in the secondary. And we were the second team to had the second most interceptions in the league. So I look at that and just look at how we bring that whole group back. Minus Malachi Moore, who split reps with Red Morgan and Bray Hubbard, and you got Cam Howard, right? We still got Cam Howard, right? Cameron Howard?
Yes.
He's still there. I mean, these are guys, Zay Mincy still there, that started playing that Malachi Moore role, that free safety, that Rover, that Husky role. These guys were rotating. Drake Kirkpatrick comes in with some experience under his belt. Then you go and sign Dijon Lee as we slide into the defensive back conversation. You like how I segue that, didn't it? You like how I segue? Yeah. I learned that from you, big dog. Right, Ego Cap.
But right before you get to Dijon Lee, you bring back Day Jones, who's got experience as a Husky, as a nickel, as a rover, as a corner, and Day down the stretch last year, Day was popping folks.
And I had to really apologize because I thought he had hit the portal, but it was King Mac. It was King Mac.
Here. Yeah, King
When
Mac
I found out that number 7 Deshaun Jones, we retained him, and it's because he's so quiet. Just like he is on the field, he's just showing up doing work. He's quiet on social media. You don't see a lot of activity from him. So looking at that depth in the secondary, man, would you put up a fight and say that Alabama? I'm gonna keep it just secluded to the SEC. I'm gonna just keep it boxed into the SEC. Would you stand up and fight with me and say that we might have the most talented secondary, adding Cam Calhoun from Utah, bringing back Damani Jackson? You got Deshaun Jones as veteran guys. You're bringing back Bray Hubbard. Keon Sabb is a veteran guy. You're bringing back the highly touted Red Morgan. You got 5-star Dijon Lee. You got 4-star Chuck McDonald. You got 5-star Ivan Taylor on coming to this roster. You got so much depth of talent, and we still haven't mentioned the Xavier Browns, the Zay Mincy. We know Mbakwe is listed as a wide receiver, but he can push come to shove. You could throw him back over on the other side, and so much depth and talent, man. Could this be the most talented secondary that we've seen at Alabama since that 2015-2016 secondary?
I think it is. And that 2015-2016 group you're talking about, you had Cyrus Jones, you had Marlon Humphrey, you had Ronnie Harrison, you had Minka Fitzpatrick, you had crazy Tony Brown, you had Levi Wallace, you had Anthony Averett. I mean, you had Xavier McKinney. You had dudes. You had, and I just named the whole NFL roster right there.
Yeah.
You had nothing. You had Deontay Thompson in there. You had dudes. I look at this group right here is just as talented, if not more. And what's crazy, adding back Jason Jones, who played at Alabama, who coached at Alabama, who's now back at Alabama, the chemistry between he and Mogan Gwist with the secondary and just fitting where everybody can play their best at. Oh my gosh. Like, you look at what made that Seattle Seahawks Legion of Boom defense so great. You had Richard Sherman, length. You had Cam Chancellor, length and would kill you. You had Brandon Browner, length. You had Earl Thomas, who can play anywhere on the field. You look at a secondary like this, Dijon Lee, that 6'4" length. You got Damani Jackson, Xavier Brown, time
6'1", 6'2".
I mean, you got Bray Hubbard, who time on task now. You got Keon Sabb, who started off beasting before he got hurt. Now he's back. This is crazy depth and length here.
You talk about transitioning and evolution of the game. It was nothing to see Saban go out and get a 5'9", 5'10" corner that was stocky and building physical and could really get under you, get in your hip and stay in phase. But the game has changed so much. That style of defending the ball has become a little bit void. You're not going to find too many lockdown corners that can really shut down one side of the field. Well, contrary to popular belief, the University of Alabama has 2 shutdown corners right now, 2 boundary corners that can really lock down their sides of the field. And we're going to see these guys play opposite of each other in Cam Calhoun and Damani Jackson. So you got to think a guy like Xavier Brown, who might get slid from a boundary position and get slid to inside slot corner, nickel corner, whatever you want to call him, you're going to slide a guy like that with his type of experience and coverage ability inside. That opens up guys like Red Morgan to really be an in-the-box style safety, something that he excels in. Ray Hubbard, somebody to Rover and Keon Sabb, safeties like those guys who can really just robber and bait you all day from the hashes. It's going to be nothing to put Sabb or Hubbard in a one-high situation and throw a mixed look, a pre-snap look, and rob right up under a deep post look or a flood concept that's being, trying to get him to bite on the underneath. I tell you, this is probably the smartest and the deepest talented, most depth talented defensive back room we have seen. I'm not backing off of that stance, and I feel like this is another year. Let's say, knock on wood, God forbid, we start seeing injuries. We can go 4 injuries before I start worrying. That's whether it's a starter guy we can go 4 or 5 injuries after seeing what Mo Linguist was able to do with that freshman class last year in their development and having them game ready. He and coach that just left, I forget his name.
Coach
Hitchler, yeah,
Colin
yeah.
Hitchler.
What they were able to do, bringing Coach Jones in, and I've seen his product in development. Right, we've seen Coach Jones' product in development. He's got multiple guys still playing in the league right now that he's had his hands on as far as development. So I am excited about this secondary, man. One guy that if I had to pick one that I'm really excited about, I'm telling you, I really think Mincy showcases his quality of his versatility this year. We saw him come in and play some quality free safety reps last year when Keon Sabb went down.
I'll say this: when I watch Zay Mincy, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna stand on this. I see another Xavier McKinney. I see another.
Come on, man.
When I watch Zay, I see another X-Man.
It's my brother, Chad.
And McKinney was so underrated. People forget how underrated X was. X was that good.
Facts.
And you look at Zay Mincy, I see another X McKinney. I see another Xavier McKinney.
Right. And before we continue the conversation, man, me and you do this all the time. I want to give a chance. I want to acknowledge the chat, man. We got 54 here on the YouTube side. Make sure y'all run the likes up. We got 40 likes on the stream, 55 in the chat now. Make sure we run the likes up. But shout out to everybody pulling up. Amanda, how you been? Welcome in today. Mary J, I'm just not tapping in, but I'm sure I know it's been lit with Smook and Steven. Oh, yeah. You already know. Every time me and Brody get together, it's going to be a vibe. Smitty. Been a minute, my guy. Hey, if y'all tuning in, man, I know I haven't seen a lot of y'all. A lot of people didn't even know I was still like doing morning lives. We've moved our time this off season to the 11 o'clock hour, but I got my brother on this morning, had to come on a little bit early so we can get this out and get it clipped up and get people listening to the good news, man, the good news, the quality content. But shout out to everybody pulling up. DJ Smitty, I see you in there. Megan, Lisa, who else in here? Greg, I see y'all in there in the chat. Pulling up, Davin, everybody, man. Thank y'all for tapping in. Don't forget to run the likes up on the stream and continue to support myself and my brother Stephen M. Smith, man. Here talking Bama football, breaking down the roster, giving y'all some in-depth insight and thoughts and things to consider from eyes that have seen these guys in person. You get what I'm saying? So let's continue the conversation. We just got done talking about that defensive back room. I think we can go all day talk about breaking down each one of those guys, from the incoming freshmen, the guys that are on roster, to the guys that are returning. And I think we are very confident in that group. There's no secret about it. Jumping to the other side, man. This is my favorite side of the ball, being that I have that experience as a wide receiver coach. I love to talk about this position group. The wide receiver room, man. We talked about just the depth of talent there. But like I said, Jalen Hill, this is make it break it for him. But I think this wide receiver core, we get to see the production like we saw at Washington that last year before Kalen Deboer left. Just the overall speed of this wide receiver room. If I wanted to compare it to a group, I think they would be, you know, we had that group of Smitty, Ruggs, Waddle, Foster. All those guys were on the roster at the same time. Ridley, all of those guys were on the roster. That's a fast group when you just talk about those names, right?
Right.
This group is faster than those guys. Top end speed, stretching the field, vertical concepts, third phase routes, shiftiness. The game of college football has evolved in the past 8 years at such a rate that the speed that we saw from Waddle, we're probably going to see that from 3 different guys this year in Latsier Brooks and Bubba Hampton. And I'll even throw my guy, what's his name in there too? Jalen Mbakwe.
Yeah, Mbakwe. Yeah, it's nuts, and I hate that we're not going to get a chance to see Bubba Hampton this spring because he's recovering from an injury he suffered last year. Because getting that kid away from Steve Sarkisian in Texas was big time.
Huge.
Getting that kid away from Sarkisian. But when I look at Brooks, just Latsier Brooks, just a moment here. There are 2 receivers I'm going to pull out from watching his tape. There's 2. He's got some Waddle in him, shiftiness, ability of Waddle in him. But when I watch this guy just catch and go, Henry Ruggs.
Ruggs. Can somebody tell Steven to stop watching my show and not, because I literally, everybody in the chat that tunes in daily, man, is this not literally what I just, because he possesses the speed of both, but I'm saying outside of that.
Look, I see Waddle's ability and short spatial speed, short spatial area quickness. I
Mhm.
see Waddle right there, the ability to work in a small box. I see that. But in terms of Ruggs top end speed, I'm gonna take a slant route and hit my head on the goalpost. See you with the
Yes.
crib, Ruggs.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And that's just Latia Brooks. And Bubba Hampton is when I don't think people really remember. I said I was talking about Bubba Hampton last spring. When we kept seeing 21 step in with the twos and during spring practice during those 11s, I knew something different was happening there. And people forget Bubba was playing more like a running back role in high school, right? And really just made the full transition to wide receiver. So they were kind of giving him and Emmanuel Henderson the same type of treatment,
Yeah.
crossover development, cross training, but Hampton is a route runner. He's a very good route runner. And then you got Jalen Mbakwe, who hasn't played the wide receiver position ever, full time at the high school level. Not full time. He's played snaps there, but hasn't played, just a natural athlete. He played quarterback the last 2 years of his high school career full time, then came to Alabama as a true freshman, played cornerback, and made quality plays. I think he had 2 interceptions last year or 3.
Two
Interceptions last year. One sealed a victory. Then he goes into the off season, moves over to wide receiver, gets in the game, and if we have a quarterback that's locked in and competent enough to really see the field, I think Mbakwe comes away with at least 5 opportunities to make catches if we see a more effective and efficient offense, because he was really open and finding space, and I'm pretty sure that's what the concepts were for him in the game. Go find space in this area, and he can do that. You give him the ball, he can make some plays. So this wide receiver room is stacked, man, with just speed, but not just those 3 guys that I named. Jalen Hill, top end speed. This guy can stretch. Isaiah Horton is a stretcher. Rico Scott is a stretcher, and you got guys that go up and get it in those 3 names I just mentioned. Then you just got your do-it-all guys: Jeremy Bernard, Cole Adams, Ryan Williams.
I'm gonna speak on Cole. Cole Adams is tough as nails, people. I have watched this kid on punt return not call a fair catch. Take it and just go. This kid, tough as nails, speed burner. The guy ran track at Oklahoma at Owasso High School. The guy can go. He can go. He is tough. He is competitive. This is not just a possession receiver. I love Slade Bolden. Love him. Love Blade Bolden. Cole Adams is not Blade Bolden. Cole can really go.
Not even.
Cole
He's
not.
He's not McConkey. From Georgia.
No.
He's
Cole
actually
Adams can move.
He is probably, and this is, I'm not hyping him up, but there's a lot of speed in this room. I talk about Latia Brooks. I think Brooks might be the fastest. I think Mbakwe is right there with Brooks. You got Ryan Williams, who's right there with Mbakwe when they talk about their little back and forth races and stuff. But then we know there's a guy that's faster than both of these guys, and it's on record. Cole Adams, his 100-meter splits were like a 1-3 or something like that, or 1-2 100 meters. His 10-yard splits, 10-meter splits on his 100-meter. Like, this guy is a burner, and we saw spots in last season where he was able to play an intricate, impactful role. When Kobe Prentice and Kendrick Law weren't producing. So yeah. I think Cole Adams getting fully healthy is going to be important, and just staying available to be not just a wide receiver but a specialist. That's where he's going to really impact the game. He and a guy like Latia Brooks, you find out if Brooks can do punt return or kick return. You give each one of them, give them one of the responsibilities, let them be primary, and let that explosiveness play out, and let Mbakwe be a secondary guy and be explosive. But we know what this room can do, man. It's just about getting it on the field and getting a quarterback that can do it. We've talked about every other position, but we ain't talking about tight ends, running backs. Let's slow down. I'm ready to get in that quarterback conversation. I ain't gonna lie, because people want to know, and they think I'm playing around with my take, but I'm gonna tell them. Let's talk. Let's jump to it. We did the wide receivers. We talk about the receiving core a lot, and we forget. A lot of times we forget to talk about tight ends. If you pay attention to Kalen Deboer and Ryan Grubb's scheme, they utilize the tight ends. At Washington, you had a tight end with 47 receptions, I believe, in the season, and the next tight end behind him had 25. Last year, I think the leading tight end had 21, 27 or something like that, if that. as far as receptions, and CJ Dupree and Josh Cuevas started to emerge late in the season. We didn't see much production from Danny Lewis. Saw Robbie Oots get some quality production, for his role. But in this tight end room, man, who do you see really just kind of emerging? We talked about O-line, but the tight end room emerging as a complete tight end, not just in the receiving game, but also being able to block and help us get that extra hat on hat in that run game, something that we were missing and was very inconsistent last season.
I'll say this. Brian Ellis, the tight end coach, did an outstanding job last year. Bama had 4 tight ends to get burned. When you look at Danny Lewis, when you look at CJ Dupree, Robbie Oots, Josh Cuevas, 4 tight ends got in the games. A lot. And you look at this room right here, you're going to have Cuevas and Danny Lewis are going to kind of be like CJ and Robbie from this past season.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy to keep your eyes on is Jay Lindsey. That dude right there. Dude will hit you and it look like you done got knocked out by Ray Lewis almost, blocking wise. But the guy can catch the football.
Mm-hmm.
The guy can get open. He can run it. He can catch it. He can block. Jay Lindsey is a big talent. He is a big talent. But I think the guy in the room that is going to really spark some stuff is Marshall Pritchett. That kid has special written on him. That kid has full-on special written on his forehead. When I watch Marshall Pritchett's tape, I'm like, whoa, this is different. It's different right here. The kid at 6'5", near 240 pounds, can do everything. But when you watch this man run routes and catch it and be able to put a move on and go, that's the future. Pritchett's the future. Jay Lindsey gonna pop, but Pritchett's the future.
And that's the thing. I said this about Jay Lindsey, no shade. I just think Lindsey needs to be a lot more tougher. He is a physical specimen. For him to not, want to clean somebody's clock every play, because the athleticism is there, and I think he kind of loses his intensity in those moments. And that's what the evaluation of him is going to be this spring. Can he maintain that same intensity regardless of the play call? He's an athletic guy, big athletic guy that's used. You go look at his high school film, he's used to being the focal point of the offense. So there's a mentality adjustment that has to happen there. And I think he's going to be in good position, especially with Danny Lewis being limited in spring. Josh Cuevas is going to be, he's a great mentor. I like what Josh Cuevas brings to this room. The unsung hero a lot of last year with our run blocking. A lot of your secondary plays and extended plays were successful. But because of what CJ Dupree and Josh Cuevas were able to do in their understanding of what this offense needs them to be able to do and be big bodies, we beat CJ Dupree up for one bad play out of the 2 years that he's been at Alabama. Last year. I think we're going to see a very good quality production from this tight end room. I'm excited about Marshall Pritchett myself. That's a young man. I've been able to get in contact with that family and myself, his father. We talk a lot about some of the things that we see development-wise on the roster. And when I spoke on Marshall, one thing that I highlighted was he has is a lot of times we look at these guys, the big white guys. I'm gonna say it because I'm unashamed. They look at these big white guys and they talk about athleticism as if it's foreign to these type of guys. You look at the build and the makeup and the skill sets of the tight ends in the NFL that are thriving right now. He's an NFL size tight end right now.
Yeah,
at 6'5", 235.
You look at the George Kittles. You look at the Kittles. You look at the Travis Kelce's.
Come on, man.
You look at those guys. Yeah,
they're the ones, but he's a more athletic version of those guys when you talk about just leaping ability.
You even look at the Laporta at Detroit.
Come on, man.
Look at Mark Andrews. A Mark Andrews for the Ravens.
I look at Marshall Pritchett and I look at the way that he can move in his phases, man. It's hard to determine what phase route. Is he running a first phase? Is he running second phase? Is he running extended second phase? Is he running a third phase route? His releases are consistent. He drives out of his breaks. He drives back to the ball, but then also in the blocking and the run scheme, he's technically sound, and he's not a finesse blocker. He wants to get in there and get mixy. And the last time we had a tight end like that, Irv Smith Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's the last. I mean, OJ Howard was good, right, in the receiving game, but I think OJ Howard in college struggled in run blocking.
Yeah.
Irv Smith Jr. was complete. He didn't get the amount of targets he deserved, right? We saw his skills, but Irv Smith Jr. was complete, and I think
Another one smoked that was complete, but all he needed to do was stay healthy a bit more. I got to give Miller Forrestall his credit.
100%.
Miller Forrestall would stick his nose into all the trash. He would do it. He would get open and catch the ball too, but Miller would stick his nose into all the trash.
Right, and I hate that we don't get to see Ty Lockwood, develop in this system, because I think he had some upside. I really do. I think he had some upside in this scheme because of his skill set and what he does on the roster. But when you lose him, but you bring in Marshall Pritchett, and then you got Caleb Edwards coming in the fall, we ain't missing a beat. And people forget we still have Caleb Edwards, who's more of a receiving tight end than more so a blocking. And Caleb Edwards is the one I see. Watched him. We saw Grubb and those guys split the Y at the X position in the red zone. So this versatile tight end group gives you those abilities. Jump into the running back room, man. Probably the only group on the roster, one of the groups on the roster that I don't care to have a discussion about, because whoever you close your eyes and pick one, we close your eyes and pick one, and I feel like we're going to have success. I mean, on every facet. You might have a few issues with Kevin Riley and young A.K. Deere and pass pro, but I think outside of that, you're solid with everything else in front of them. Break down this running back room, your thoughts. I don't have much to say about them. I don't have no gripes or complaints about it.
I mean, Smoke. It's like you mentioned, man. You throw a quarter out in the ocean and pick one.
Pick one.
You got guys that can do a little bit of everything. Jam Miller's your do it all. He's your do it all. He can run it. He can catch it. He can block. I mean, he can do it all for you. Richard Young, stay healthy. That kid's got bruiser power. He's got some speed. Can pass, block, and catch it. Richard Young, stay healthy. The Washington kid that transferred in from Louisiana, that guy, I've nicknamed him the muscle hamster. He's kind of a bowling ball, Josh Jacobs type in a way. So you got him in here. He's got time on task, and so he's going to try to fit his way in there. Daniel Hill is now starting to look like Brian Robinson, former Bama running back, D-Rob.
Yes.
I like what he's adding here with Daniel Hill. Then Kevin Riley. Kevin Riley's got pure speed. I would like to see him develop a bit more power, but he's got pure speed. And then A.K. Deere, as you mentioned, would need to get into that pass pro, but the physicality, the talent, the size, you can't really teach that. So you're in a mode, if you're Coach Gillespie, throw a quarter out there and just see which one sticks the most.
Right. And I think you don't nod Riley's way as fast because you still want to see what that frame develops into. This scheme, you got to be able to run in between the tackles, man. You got to be able to run in between the tackles, and that's not his preferred skill set, even though he can. He can get north and south.
He's a stretch outside guy.
Exactly. Out the backfield, screen game, split them in the slot. You get them in and out on your zigs and your squirrel routes, all of that quick pass game you can have them in. I think this is a quality running back room, man. That you put different skill sets in this room, and all of them can do everything solid to a certain degree. Like I said, Kevin Riley, just filling out that frame and getting solid in the pass pro. Same with A.K. Deere, just learning the collegiate level of how to decipher these things and paying attention to the signals, because people don't understand the running backs get a lot of their signals from the O-line. Especially when it comes to pass pro, whether it's chipping, you staying in, that the quarterback can tell you, but the O-line is the ones that's really like, all right, I'm grabbing 56. You're gonna have to grab 13 in the overhang. He's coming. And you got to be able to see that.
Yeah, I see that. And if it's not the O-line, the tight end will be like, hey, I'm not going to chip. I'm going to release. I'm going to usually go bang up on 55 right there to get that quarterback time. Yeah. I'm on the release.
I'm the closest to the overhang. He gotta pick up the number 2 receiver. So I gotta be the hot read off here in the flats. You can't be it because you're gonna be behind the line of scrimmage, and we're not trying to throw behind the line of scrimmage. We want to throw it forward just in case it's incomplete. So coaching moment right there from Coach Smook and Coach Smith. Appreciate y'all. But nah, man, that's kind of for me the running back room. Richard Young, I think he's going to be I think, believe it or not, I think Richard Young might be RB1A this season. And I think you're going to see Jam Miller because of how the scheme is going to play out, and hopefully there's health there. He stays healthy. I think you're going to see the Richard Young, Jam Miller show as far as the running back rotation. And you might have a designated situational thing going for Dre Washington when you have all guys available. And I think it plays out perfect. Daniel Hill is going to be, you don't care when you put him in, he's going to have kind of like that role that Richard Young had last year. You need to change your pace, get him out there, catching it out the backfield, power running, physicality, closing out the game, sealing the lead by getting that last first down to run the clock out. I think Daniel Hill moves into that role, and then next year he's probably RB1B. You know what I'm saying? So this running back room, I'm excited about it. I think this is probably the most set room as far as talent, availability, and ready to just put out on the field and produce.
Right.
Now, last but not least, y'all, and we got to jump into this conversation. I don't even think we need to pull it up. Your thoughts, man. Quarterback competition. What are you hearing? And we're gonna just have this conversation. I think we've heard enough of mechanics breakdowns and what quarterback does what. But what are you hearing as far as the quarterback competition? We don't give enough credit to what can happen in the first week of evaluation now that we're in year 2 under Kalen Deboer and this staff.
What I've heard is it's Ty Simpson's job as of right now. It's Ty's job. And I got from a source very close to Ty's family that Ty mentioned to DeBoer, I'm not leaving here without a national championship and me being the guy to get it done. So Ty being a coach's kid, right now, it's his spot as of right now. However, when you look at Key Russell and you see the way that ball comes out of his hand and how it's layered in there, and the rotational spins. This kid's got a fastball. He's got a changeup. He's got a curveball. I know I'm preaching in baseball terms, but when you look at the layers of passes that young man's able to make and how receivers are able to get to all of those balls, it's something. It is. And how he anticipates, it is something. I mean, it is something.
I'm gonna say something that I got told, and I know it's probably over exaggerating, but I've heard in the last 2 practices, the first practice with limited throwing, 1 ball test to ground. No matter where it was, 1 ball test to ground from Russell. The last 2, nobody can recall a live pass, meaning 7s or individuals or 11s, where a pass from Keelan Russell, no matter the group, second group, third group, fourth group, no ball. Nobody can recollect where a ball hit the ground because of him. Let me put it like that. And the last time we've heard these type of stories was with what quarterback, Steven?
That'd be Bryce Young.
And I wholeheartedly believe. Y'all can say what y'all want. I love Mac Jones. Glad he did what he did in 2020. But I wholeheartedly believe if Alabama has a spring going into that 2020 season, if we have a spring camp, Bryce Young is making a push to start that 2020 fall season.
And then you look at Austin Mack, of whom has the most knowledge of the Grub offense, being a part of it at Washington in 2023. And the work that he's put in and how he's filled out his body, and now 236 pounds. Here's the thing to me. The thing to me is going to be here. Which one of these, because all 3 of them are good. If I'm DeBoer, I do not go to the portal. I do not go to the portal right now. I find a way to keep all 3 of these guys on this roster because you don't need the portal right now. You figured out with Tommy Reese going out there and get Tyler Buckner from the portal that mess was trash. It didn't work. I don't touch the portal. I got 3 dudes that can do this. But of the 3 dudes that can do this, the one that's got the highest ceiling to where something special about the pop in this gumbo is Key Russell.
I like the truth, man. I like the truth, and a lot of people, I've seen the little subliminals on different videos and stuff, about the fact that I'm preaching this. I'm not saying it's a 2-horse race. I'm not saying it's any type of race. I know what I've seen in live action, and Russell is the best quarterback in the room. I mean, just from a talent standpoint, Steven, he's the best quarterback in the room. That doesn't mean Ty Simpson can't be the starter and lead us to victory. It doesn't mean Austin Mack can't. But when I look at pure skill set and what's available skill set wise, the type of look that you want in a quarterback, my eyes, they literally gravitate. Austin Mack is a specimen. Ty Simpson is your prototypical look of a quarterback, but when the ball starts coming out the hands, when you start seeing them drop back, when you start seeing guys going through progressions, consistency and growth is something that I look for, and I cannot take my eyes off of Keelan Russell. And I'm hype about Ty Simpson and getting this opportunity. I said this on my take. It's Ty's job to lose. If he doesn't separate himself early, he's in trouble. And it's because you have a guy like Keelan Russell right there behind you.
And I'll say this: there's a reason why Smook is no problem sharing truth here, because I'm gonna bring Bama fans back to history for a moment here. 2016.
Talk about it.
You had 2016. You had Hurts as a freshman. You had Blake Barnett, the one everybody wanted. You had Cooper Bateman and David Cornwell. You had that group right there. Everybody was saying it's Barnett's time. He waited 2015. He sat behind Cooper.
Not Smook. Smook got criticized for being on Facebook saying that he didn't too much care for the Barnett situation.
I'll tell you, everybody was on Blake Barnett. And I remember I posted an article saying Jalen Hurts is the best quarterback in the room. And I remember the whole University of Alabama athletic staff tried to blackball me at that moment. And it ended up being absolutely correct that Jalen Hurts, because I had spoken to 100 people on that campus. I'm talking girlfriends, everybody. And they were all saying, hey, Hurts is the best guy in the room.
Steven, Hurts is the reason me and you came together. Yeah. I literally, that year when he won that USC game, when he came in that USC game, that's literally when I stumbled on your content, because I could not find anybody on ESPN talking about it. And so that's when I found out YouTube even had like Bama football coverage. And this is the early days of Stephen Smith and TDA and things of that nature, 2016. So yeah, I gotta remember, like, we weren't like he wasn't even doing the live shows. It was just write-ups then. So
just writing it. And then even 2017, for as good as Hurts was, and he was good, we all knew Tua was the better talent in the room.
Come on, man.
We all knew it. Like, we all knew, as good as Hurts was, and that's my guy. But we all knew the Hawaiian Prince, Double T in the morning, that's the best guy in the room.
TT now.
We all knew that. So it even took Nick Saban in the national championship game to go in the locker room. Bruh, we all know the move we got to make. Let's go ahead and pull it now. So it's the same thing here. As excited as we are for Ty Simpson, and I am, and Austin Mack, hard-working dude, but if Key Russ is the man in the room, you can't deny that that's the man in the room.
And I try to tell people all the time, man, like, it's not the fact that I'm for Ty Simpson. I was for Ty Simpson 2 years ago. Steven, do you recall when I got bashed the year under Tommy Rees, the first year under Tommy Rees, and I said Ty Simpson will be the starter if Jalen Milroe goes out and struggles the first 3 drives against Middle Tennessee State, and if he gets an opportunity, he wouldn't turn the reins over. You remember when I got beat up for that? I had the same take. I had the same take last year coming into the second season with the same competition between him and Milroe. He has yet to seize the moment. This year is his to lose. He has to separate, because I don't see Ryan Grubb being put or Coach Kalen Deboer being put in a situation where it's a make it or break it opportunity, and they throw the the next best up there. I think week 1, we need Florida State. Shoot, spring ball. Week 2, the first scrimmage in spring, we're going to have to see something where Ty Simpson has to really just separate and possess this position, man.
I'll say this. Because I saw this the entire, 16, 17 years of the Saban era. And I saw this up close and personal. I'm out there in the burning hot sun. So I saw this. I would literally see Coach Saban be loyal to a fault. And Coach Saban would know somebody else better is in the room. And Coach Saban would still stick with that senior or that junior, knowing that there was a young guy in that room.
Henry Toa. I denied that for so many years, Stephen. I denied it for so many years.
Smoke, year after year after year after year, I saw Saban do it. And I saw if there was one flaw in the greatness that was Coach Saban, it was he was loyal to a fault on players that you should have slid out of the spot years ago. So when I look at Deboer and Ryan Grubb, they are opposite. They are not that way. Those two guys are show me type coaches. I feel like week 1, I feel like Deboer is this. I feel like Deboer in fall camp early. If Key Russ is I'm him, fall camp early, Deboer will say it's over. We got our guy.
He will. I mean, he did it last year after the second scrimmage. Like, I don't know why people wasn't listening, Steven. When I came out, literally after that presser in the stadium conference room, I came out and I said, Jalen Murrow is going to be the starter. Kalen Deboer literally just said it. After it was scrimmage number 2, the most consistent quarterback in the room, he said it. It was Jalen Murrow. We saw some massive improvement from Ty Simpson. We saw some great improvement from Austin Mack. Dylan is a guy that's really been making some strides here lately. I remember that. I remember because I asked the question, what's been the growth pattern for our quarterback room as far as their development and understanding the keys and the basics of this scheme? And he literally talked about Jalen Murrow really taking charge and possessing it. I need to hear that about Ty Simpson. I heard it about Keelan Russell, him possessing and just being unflappable and growing. Ty Simpson grasping everything, being the leader. As expected, this is your 4th year on campus, son. You don't get no kudos from me for that. If this was your sophomore year, I got you. But this your 4th year, Ty. If you don't possess it this year, you make me look like a fool because I feel like you can be the guy. You make me look like a fool. But then, you know, Keelan Russell get a chance, man. Or Austin Mack. I think Russell is the one where, because of his mentality, you give him an opportunity to get out there in front of you, you're not going to get it back, man.
I go back to Key Russ was on live with Ryan Williams. He said, I'm not coming in here to sit down. I'm coming in here to do something different. And when you play high school football in the state of Texas, how hard that league is. And you are a 2-time state champion coming from the state of Texas now. And you are an Elite 11 MVP coming from the state of Texas.
Keep saying that because that makes a difference. I don't think people realize that.
People don't understand. Texas shuts down for Friday night football. Texas literally becomes a ghost state when it comes to Friday night football. Those businesses, they're not open. They are closed to see son, grandson, little nephew, little bro. They're all out there on the gridiron playing ball. So it's different in the state of Texas, and we've seen it. And seeing Key Russ come from Duncanville, which is one of the toughest programs out there, one of the toughest ones out there, and 2-time state champion. I think he only lost, 2 or 3 games his whole career?
4 games in 4 years of starting.
4 games in 4 years of starting. He's a 2-time state champion.
And 2 of those came in his first year. 2 of those came in his first year.
And the fact that you go to the Elite 11 and you tear that thing up, and now you're in Alabama, and now you've defied the one question everybody had about you, which was your weight. You're now at 192 with a chance to push at 200 pounds? I'm just saying.
And this is like just 6 weeks, 7 weeks on campus when these measurements and This young man is made for the quarterback position and this scheme. And I don't know why there's this, and it's not disrespect to Ty. If anything, if Ty Simpson knows, I support him. I talked to Ty Simpson last year at Pro Day, and we were just talking about his realistic, his opportunity for him to really be the starter, And I think that young man really is just ready to turn a corner. And if he doesn't get the job, I don't think it's a bitterness inside of him. Like you said, he's dedicated to finishing it out here at Alabama and leading us to a national championship. I don't care. I don't think it matters what facet that's in it, whether he's the starter and does it, or he's got packages set up, because I guarantee you, Grubb and this staff will not shy away from having a package for Austin Mack in the red zone. They won't. They will not allow themselves to be running into the situations that they ran into, that Sheridan ran into last year by being limited. This is a staff that gets to communicate this scheme on all levels in a more comfortable and fluid fashion, that this can be productive.
Smook, do not be shocked. I'm going to say this right here on the show. And if it happens, you heard it right here. Do not be shocked if Ryan Grubb uses Austin Mack the same way Urban Meyer used Tim Tebow when Tebow first came on the scene. Don't be shocked if that happens.
Or like Jim Harbaugh, is it Jim? Right? Was at Michigan using Alex Orji last year when they had
exactly.
This is the new age of college football. The more diversity you create, fluid diversity that you can create offensively, meaning mismatches, shifts, schematically seeing 3-3-5 being a shadowed scheme now in college football is really a shadowed scheme personnel wise. You're running 3-3-5 out there. You may be set up in nickel, 4-man fronts and things of that nature, but personnel wise, you're putting 3 defensive linemen, sometimes 2, and you're putting 4 to 5 linebackers on the field. You're 5 DBs. So you have to be able to get guys that can get the ball in space quickly, identify things in transition quickly, and deliver the ball. Keelan Russell does these things at a high level. Ty Simpson does these things. When he's on, he's on. Austin Mack is the only one we have yet to see be consistent, and I think that's contributed to just the quality of evaluation talent around him that he's been stuck with for us to evaluate. Because when he's been in with the 1s and the 2s, he's looked good. So this quarterback competition is going to be great. We got this first scrimmage this coming up weekend, man. I think we're going to have some reports for you here on the Coach Smooth Network. I can't. Steven, I be messing up sometimes, man. I got a big old mouth, but we'll have some reports and some reports for the post scrimmage noise, and y'all know I'm gonna just speak facts, man.
In basketball, prior to him retiring, Adrian Wojnarowski will hit you with a Woj bomb.
Yeah.
Bomb, but he'll hit you with the smoke signal.
We got the smoke scoop coming. For a post scrimmage. And Steven, you already know, man, if you're available, I definitely want you to come on and share, because if y'all really want to hear what's happening inside the locker room, and we respect the university, I especially love this new staff, man. With the SID, shout out to Aaron Jordan and Alex doing their thing, man. I like the communication aspect of how they are allowing us to really sharpen our approach to what we do to cover this team, and the ones that are dedicated.
I think they're learning Smook as we are, because I remember I came in this with Josh Maxson and love Josh Maxson, but Josh was kind of that old regime of, you're right, you're on the beat, this and this, you don't get too close to the team, and that's how Saban had it. With Alex and Aaron Jordan, they kind of understand we need media. We need these guys. Yeah. So if we shut these guys out, then we're not going to be able to have the publicity around our team that we need to have. So I think Alex and Aaron have gotten the full understanding of we need media around us. We need to build that trust there.
And I respect the fact that, like I said, I showed up to do team reporting and got pulled aside, and they asked me what my vision was, basically, in so many words. Yeah. And they put me on the right path so that I can do what I want to do without worrying about the red tape and, exposing things that, and I want that. I want that respect I want to establish that networking and that networking relationship, but also that trust with the university. I'm a die hard through and through. You see it behind me. Then this is stuff that we this is all we could bring with us from Virginia last year. We really haven't added to the repertoire. This is Coach Smoot since birth. The moment I got a chance to start purchasing my own apparel, my own clothing, a lot of my stuff it's hard for me to dress because I'm a Bama man through and through. I got Bama stuff all over. I got Bama socks, drawers, sweats, hats, visors. Everybody know, so I love what this program is going through right now, this transition, but also just the type of quality friction that it's creating amongst our fan base, amongst the media coverage. It's time for us to evolve because let's be honest, Stephen, me and you know it from this standpoint, Alabama's behind as far as media coverage and content creation around the athletics programs. We're just not catching up. Shout out Walt Brock for getting us back in competition on that aspect and for the football program. But this is a great time to be a part of Alabama media and coverage. And I'm glad to have a brother like you, man, to have access and, past just, this. We talk on the like as brothers, life situations happen. I know about it. This is my brother here, chat. Steven, as we close out, man, let everybody know what you got going on, where they can follow you at. The people, they know you. It's not like they don't know you, but let them know what you got going on right now, brother.
Well, I have my hat in a different variety of things. I float around a different variety of things. Really enjoy being here because the connections here with you, Smook, have been phenomenal, and I'm gonna definitely be a part of this and what you're doing and what you're building, what you're growing here, man. Because as I've told you, man, I'm excited about this. I'm really excited about this. They can find me on X, used to be Twitter, but X, Coaching M. Smith right there. The Coaching M. Smith means something now because I'm at Pale City High School under Nick Gentry, who's done a phenomenal job with our young men. We're in our strength conditioning testing time right now. So we got a lot of kids that are going through their 40-yard dashes, their broad jumps, their vertical jumps. They're getting their power squats, power clean, bench press, and we in there with them. Getting their social media in line, but along with that, helping out with that defensive line is concerned. So got some kids that we're trying to create some D1 offers for, and I'm so very proud of these kids. So you can catch me right there at Pale City High School. You can also catch me on the Bama Standard Tuesdays and Saturdays, with Tuesday and Sunday. So Sunday night, it's Talking Bama. Tuesday night's the flagship show, which is the Bama Standard Show.
Yeah.
I'm excited about that. And I've even done this. I've done something different, man, to switch the game up on people. I've even started to put my hand in the NBA basketball world. So,
see, now you really trying to collab with your bro because I've been doing college basketball. I've always done college basketball. I'm a hooper by heart, by nature, but NBA, I always get tied in around this time of year when it gets closer to the playoffs, when it's consistent. After the trades and everything, now we can really dial in and follow it.
I got my hand in the basketball hat. Now I got a buddy of mine who has a site, Ball Exclusive. So I've been writing some stuff there with Ball Exclusive, getting myself prepared for the upcoming NBA playoffs. So yeah, I got my hands here in a lot of hats. I've always had my hand in a lot of hats. But,
my dog, man, I'm telling you, I don't think if people watch if they know your growth in your career, and I think my approach to it has just been a little bit more, not necessarily controversial, just a little bit more direct, and people weren't used to that. But I've literally just kind of watched different ones. You, Josh Pate, I've listened to Ryan Fowler. I've collabed with so many different guys, and I've kind of just put everything in a melting pot to kind of say, all right, this is good. How do I use it and separate myself? And I appreciate you for continuing to push me, bro, because it's been times, man, you've seen some of the guys come over here and leave, and some of the things that's been around here. And I just continue to push, man. I haven't taking it personal. I know it comes along with the territory. And if anybody understands that, being a public face and having some people like you, and then some people want to joke, and then some people dislike you, you know how to fight through that, man. And I commend you on that. And everything you've been doing has been awesome, bro.
What the biggest thing that I've always taken from this is it's only the 5% that really don't have a face that come at you. The other 95%, they will see you in the street and be ready to give you a hug and take a picture with you and want you to sign something for them because it means something to them. When you are graced to do something, Christ will give you the intuition to fight through all the outside junk. So when you are graced to do something, you're able to have the fortitude to just do it. And so for me, everybody's delivery is different, but if you have a delivery that catches the ear of somebody and they're like, whoa, like I gotta get this because the way he bring it, like I've never heard it like that. You always want to be that innovative, fresh air that catches the airway different. And as long as you're doing that, then you're doing what you need to do.
Yes, sir. And so with that being said, Steven, I appreciate you as always, man. And we're going to get ready to close this thing out. Just want to give everybody opportunity to clap it up for Steven in the chat, man. Clap it up for Steven. We're going to, like he said, y'all thought last year we had some collabs. Just wait. Just wait. Spring ball is going to be just a taste, like a slight taste of what y'all going to get from myself and my brother. But he's not the only one. We got a lot of people in the industry that are looking to just connect, not just with me. It's not, I know I say Coach Smoot Network, but it's what comes with the Coach Smoot Network, the family, the community, the quality of production that we trying to push out, man. I'm sharing sauce with other content creators about my editing techniques and everything because it's not at the end of the day, it's competitive, but it's good competition. I want everybody to put their best foot forward when representing Alabama and how we cover them. So, Steven, I know you got to get up out of here, man, and got to do your thing, bro. I appreciate you for tapping in, man. You be blessed today, all right? Look, let me see what he doing.
Yeah. What's up, man?
You good, man. I was just saying, I know you got to get going, man. We went like 20 minutes over what I expected, we always do. But
look, it's all good when you're talking Alabama football, and this is something that the people want. Sometimes you're going to go over, but as I mentioned, I'll be here. I'll be a part of these collaborations. I'll be a part of just injecting the history of what I've been able to bring to the table because and I'll leave with this. Bama football's got that hunger back, y'all. Sometimes it takes removing a great from the equation to have you understand we can still go get it even without him.
Yes.
So this is what Alabama's on now. Nick Saban's removed, but we can still be Alabama without him.
100%, Steven. So with that being said, man, y'all give it up for my guy Steven Smith, man. Being who he is, the GOAT here in this Bama football talk, man. One of the staples, and is always going to be Steven Smith, the new voice of Alabama football coverage, man. I'm telling you, he got my vote. I'm telling you, man. Y'all know when Eli Gold retired, I was one of the first ones. I said, man, if we was really trying to change it up, first off, let's change AC/DC intro for the game. Let's change that. Let's get rid of the Thunderstruck. All right, Steven? Let's get rid of Thunderstruck.
Yeah. Hey, yeah. Let's get rid and so for me,
remember in the booth in the spring? We thought they was gonna get us.
Look, man. Before I jump off, man, when Eli Gold retired, I made the call to Crimson Tide Sports Network. I made the call. I called, I emailed, I sent voicemails like, hey, my phone is available. Pick it up. Nobody did. So I know they got Chris Stewart in there. Love Chris. But if Chris was to ever let go of the football side and just do basketball, Chris, pick up the phone. You got my number. I'm ready to go in now.
Chat, what we like to say over here, put me in the game, coach. Put my boy Steven in the game. Get him calling those Bama. Y'all like to hear it on the radio. Imagine Steven Smith calling the Gravedigger. Come on, dog. Imagine Steven Smith.
Look. I'm going to give him a taste right now.
Let's do it. Come on.
All right, guys. We are in here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. The fans are rocking loudly on this Indian burial ground. Alabama's got the football on about the 31-yard line here. 31 seconds to go. Jalen Milroe in the shotgun, surveying all the options. I got beer coming out of the stadium right now. Jalen Milroe takes the snap. He looks to his right. He sees nothing. The pocket still clean. He rolls to his left. He steps up. He fires a dart in the back of the head. Oh, my God. Whoa. Bun. James Bond, Agent Bond, Isaiah Bond has caught it in the back left corner of the end zone. He got both feet in. Oh my word, Auburn's gone dead silent. A knife has been stuck in the heart of Jordan Hare. Oh wow, Becca, it's over.
Hey, Steven, I've relived that moment. I had a bottle of water and everything that night when we did that, man. I'm talking about everybody in the house got soaked. I had a bottle of water, bro. I jumped up. Beer. It wasn't even water. It was a beer, Steven. I had a Michelob, a big boy, and I jumped up and I remember swinging that thing and boy, stat. Come on, chat. AAA family, do we not need that? That's new energy. New energy, and it's different with the beer spilling out the stadium. But Steven, take care, man.
Hey, for real. Y'all take it easy. Appreciate it.
All right, man. I know you got to go, bro. Oh, man. That's my brother, man. Love you, Steven. Take care, man.
You too, man.
All right, man. Y'all, that's my guy, man. Oh, man. Nothing but good vibes, man. Y'all give it up for Steven M. Smith one more time, y'all, in the chat. Every time we get together, y'all know we're going to create some memories, man. I just love the vibe, man. It's pure. It's real. It's authentic. Exactly what we about here at the Coach Smoot Network. And I appreciate him for pulling up. But as you all know, man, we're coming up. We got about 2 minutes so we can keep this thing on track as far as how we're closing out and everything. So with that being said, thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't already, like, share, subscribe. We got 55 here. We got 50 people watching on YouTube. Y'all just go ahead and drop that like before y'all leave up out of here. We got 59 on Twitter. So y'all make sure y'all drop likes over there. Repost. Then over here on Facebook, we got 3 reactions. We got 3 reactions on the stream. Stream from the personal page. We got my guy Marquise Saints pulling up, man. Old classmate of mine, my big brother, Travis Smith. You know, hey, y'all gonna know his son's name over at Tennessee, man, over there at Rocky Top. We're gonna have to deal with this monster for the next 3 to 4 years. I love you, nephew, but you ain't have to do that to me, man. You ain't have to do that to me, bro. But I think that was the best fit for him. I'm not gonna lie. We all know how much I admire Josh Heupel's offensive scheme, and how the wide receivers can thrive. They got a quality quarterback. Their offensive line is stacked. It's about finding those guys. Tennessee is going to be a freaking problem, and I'm pissed off, and I'm about to throw up saying that they're actually going to be a good team, I believe. I'm sorry. Y'all know. Let me hurry and get off. But shout out to everybody. Shout out to our sponsors, man. Everybody that supports the Coach Smoot Network. We appreciate each and every one of you for supporting, man. This could not be done without God, first of all, but without you all. The easiest way to support the channel and the best way is by subscribing and doing the free things, sharing this stream, liking the stream, hitting that thumbs up. Follow me on all socials at Coach Smoot. We're trying to get to 5K subscribers here on YouTube. We're trying to get to our 4K goal before the end of this month. So help your boy out. We're 150 subscribers away on YouTube from reaching that goal. Shout out to Yon Clothing. I don't have the hat, but my brother Cy Gaddy, man, with his clothing apparel, urban streetwear. We talking about some quality stuff there. Shout out to all of the supporters, Man Standard Executive Security, all of the high school programs that have partnered with us and allow us access to cover their programs and provide exposure for their athletes. Today, starting at we're going to go at about 3 o'clock. We're going to start our gaming session. I got a surprise for y'all. I did a new setup, and we're going to be able to do more than just NCAA. So if we got some Call of Duty players, we got some guys that want to get into the gaming content with your boy Coach Smoot. Excuse me. I'm sorry, y'all. That was nasty. Tap in with your boy Coach Smoot, and we'll get that popped off. But today we'll be doing some NCAA gaming. If you all didn't know, your boy, we got our TikTok stream key. So we will be live on TikTok. We'll be live on for the first part of the stream. We'll do it on YouTube. But our primary stream will be going to TikTok. We'll be start doing our gaming content on TikTok. So if you haven't downloaded TikTok, go ahead and download it and follow your boy. Download and follow your boy. We at 2.85K. Stop playing. Is that something that I already knew? Or is it just because you wrote the numbers differently that it feels a lot better when you type it? Did I just say that? Oh, yeah. We had 2.85K. Okay, you're right. That's exactly what I just said. It just looks better when you put it like that. So we need 150 more. 150 more to get to our goal, man. As a matter of fact, we only need 149 more. Shout out to whoever just subscribed to the channel. We appreciate you. But we're growing, y'all. We're trying to make this thing grow, and we're going to continue to support each other. Again, thanks to Stephen A. Shout out to the Bama Standard. You know, we ain't always had to share the same viewpoints, but I respect what they do over there. Those guys, complete. Just every time I tune in, I get mad because I laugh so hard. You know, Uncle Marvin, that dude is a trip. Steve Brown, he a trip. I follow Steve on Facebook. We interact on Facebook every now and then. And those my guys, man. Steve, Marvin Constant, and Steven Smith, man. Those my guys, man. I appreciate them guys for always showing love and support, man, and rocking with your boy. But besides that, man, we've come to the end of our show. And I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And remember, when you see me in the streets, holla at me and say, put me in the game, Coach Smook. I'll catch y'all in a few hours on the gaming stream. We're going to be live here on YouTube. So tune in. Show the same love, man. We had a lot of viewers today. Show the same love. Whether you're a gamer or not, just show it. You know, show some support. Like the stream, comment a little bit, interact. We're going to be still talking about some things that's happening. You know, it's going to be real fun and creative today. So get ready to tune in and have some fun here for the gaming session. But I love you all. Y'all be blessed. And when you see me in the streets, holla at me and say, put me in the game, Coach Smook. I love y'all. Be blessed. Roll Tide.
Remember, when you see me in the streets, holla at me. Say, put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. Put me in the game, Coach Smook.
Like, share, subscribe. You know we keep it live.
Put me in the game, Coach Smook. 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 Put me in the game, Coach Smook.